Welcome to our house, but please take your shoes off. The Titans' Cortland Finnegan is a big fan of Ultimate Fighting, and for one day, he got a behind-the-scenes look at life in the UFC.
It's definitely a passion of mine, to toss and tumble, though when you're with a helmet on, you can't really do it. So when you get to see it live and in person, and Melvin's somebody of high caliber doing it, you look forward to coming out here.
Melvin Guillard is headlining Friday night's UFC event at Bridgestone Arena, and he was thrilled that an NFL star showed interest in learning more about his sport.
As I started talking to him, I realized that's the guy that get fined by the commissioner all the time for playing too rough. I mean, that's my kind of player.
To step into that ring, you've got to be a bad man. I couldn't even imagine. I do it with the helmet and shoulder pads, but I have all the admiration in the world for what he does.
Now, Cortland's interaction with these UFC fighters has actually inspired him to get into the octagon. And you guessed it, the fast talker was quick to issue a challenge to his favorite Texans wide receiver.
Finnegan gets the first shot.
I would mix it up for sure. If there ever came a time and a place, I would definitely love to do it.
Is this a challenge to Andre Johnson?
No, it's not a challenge. I just said if an opportunity ever presents itself, MMA, and we could do it, I would love to.
That sounds like a challenge to me. With the UFC in Nashville, Mike Rogers, News Channel 5 Sports. The year is 1998. The location is Oilers training camp at Tennessee State University. The father and son on the field are Bruce Matthews and his 11-year-old Kevin. Fast forward to the year 2011. Titans training camp at Baptist Sports Park. The father and son on the field, offensive line coach Bruce Matthews and his 24-year-old Kevin.
That's what a father said to his young son.
I call him Dad. Every once in a while I'll say it's Coach Dad. But I don't know, when I was talking to some of the rookies and I was telling them to go talk to him, I would say, hey, go ask Bruce this and stuff, which also sounds even weirder than, me saying, go ask my dad this. But I call him Dad, it's what I've always called him, so it's probably won't ever change.
What does he call you on the field?
Dad, Coach Dad, Usually Dad, and I'll correct him. That's Coach Dad to you, so.
Coach Dad spent the last 2 years as an offensive line coach with the Houston Texans. But this offseason, the Hall of Famer got a call from the Titans organization, where a unique opportunity was waiting for him. Before accepting the job to be Mike Munchak's O-line coach, Bruce wanted to ask his son, who's now a second-year lineman with the team, if it would be okay to be his coach in the NFL. And the answer from Kevin was yes.
The positives are endless, working with the Hall of Famer, just like I was with Munch, and, he's my dad, so, you can't really think of any negatives about it.
I think the negatives to the situation is that I probably care too much. I am definitely personally invested in that kid, and I want to see him do well. Yet at the same time, I understand Munch hired me for a reason, and it isn't about the Matthews or anything. It's about the Titans and making them the best team that we can be.
Every father always wants to see only the best for their kids, but what happens when their feedback could make or break their professional career? That's a position that Bruce is not looking forward to being in.
I just pray that I don't have to be involved in cutting him if it ever happened.
I think it's going to be a little nerve-wracking when that time of year for them. But other than that, I think it's great having your son around. I'm sure he's been coaching for a long time, but like I said, I think he's the same way. He'll be coaching him in a way that he's pushing like the rest of them, and hoping that he makes the team.
I like it because you have the contact, like get to hit people around.
I know some people think, maybe you'd have to worry about whispers in the locker room about people saying, oh, he's only doing this because of his coach, his dad, and stuff like that. But this is the NFL, and that's not how it works. That could probably get me a little leniency in the meeting rooms, but, it's not going to get me on the field or keep me on the team. So, I'm all for it, and, I'm excited about it. Hopefully it lasts for a while.
Over the years, Bruce has taught his son a lot about the game of football. But when you ask Kevin what he's learned the most from his dad, the first word he responded with was character and how to handle yourself in the game of life.
He just tells us to do whatever we do it 100%, but know that while we're here, take advantage of it because it's not going to last forever. Well, you know what lasts forever is your family and your relationship with God. So
I'd like to see them just find something that they like and do it as well as they can. And if it's football, that's great. If it's, well, him, I don't know. We'll have to find something for him.
And for now, it looks like they found each other on the football field once again. It's not every day you see a golfing legend teeing off in your neck of the woods.
Oh, that's a beauty.
The great Jack Nicklaus was the star amongst the stars at this year's Vinny. The Pro Celebrity Junior Golf Invitational has been around for almost 2 decades. But this year's event has brought an even bigger smile to the face of its founder.
Now 19 years in, and over the years, I've found good fortune to have a relationship with him. And at that point, I asked him to come, and he said yes, so couldn't be happier.
Your most recent major, the Vinny, we present you with this, with all of your majors that you won.
Mentioned coming up and getting the dates, and the dates works. I say, okay, we'll come.
That's wonderful.
Just that simple.
It's a big deal for this tournament. He does not do much of this stuff, and says a lot about Vince, really.
And it also says a lot about the cause. Every year, the Vinny benefits the junior golf programs in Tennessee. It helps young golfers like 16-year-old Austin Jackson take their game and more to the next level.
It's exciting, and I get to prove myself in front of him. I get to impress him, so it's a good opportunity.
It's a great game for kids because they grow up and they grow up with adults, at a club, and you learn how to live with adults. You learn how to grow up in society, and you learn a lot of lessons of life. I think that's what the First Tee is all about. And that's the important thing, why we're so involved with the First Tee. You take these kids that come from all walks of life, and come up with some pretty darn good citizens out of it.
But no matter where Jack goes these days, he is always asked about golf's most intriguing citizen. This time around, it was about Tiger's recent injury problems.
Obviously, nobody wants their records to be broken, but I don't want it not to be broken because you can't have the ability to play. And so I hope you get healthy and come back and play, and we'll see what happens.
While Tiger's reputation and legacy are a work in progress, this legendary golfer is still the man everyone wants to grow up to be.
Signed my hat from the president.
You're just in awe of what he accomplished. And what a great family man he is, and just everything about him, exudes what you want to emulate and be like, and all those things. He's arguably the best ever.
Well, it's not every day that a WWE superstar is in Nashville. This past week, wrestling great Mick Foley invaded the Music City. Mick was in town to help promote a local wrestling event. He stopped by Zany's to work on his stand-up comedy routine, and he probably found time to write a chapter in his latest novel. Now, since his days in the wrestling ring, Mankind has become a Cactus Jack of all trades. A stage and a crowd. That is all Mick Foley needs these days. Life after wrestling has been fun for the WWE superstar, who still lives for the rush of performing in front of a live audience.
Are you guys happy to be here tonight?
You never quite kick that feeling you get, the fulfillment you feel when you're in front of a crowd, and so I've just had to find different ways of getting that fulfillment.
Mr. Sacco is out!
The world of professional wrestling will always be a big part of Mick Foley's career. He recently took time out of his stand-up comedy tour and his busy writing schedule to appear at the Crossfire show at the Tennessee State Fairgrounds, an event that benefited the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Mick loves the fan response wherever he goes, but he also likes to see the effects that wrestling has on so many families.
Kids who want nothing to do with their mom and dad, who suddenly want to watch wrestling with their dad in a way that does not translate to even great sports like football or basketball. There's just something about wrestling that brings families together. I know for those who don't enjoy or appreciate what we do, it's like, come on, that's crazy. But I've seen it in so many cases, so many hundreds of cases, stories specifically about kids who weren't getting along with their mom, dad, or grandfather, and then they found a way to bond over pro wrestling.
It's the perfect ravioli for all mankind.
And Foley's diehard fan base has also bonded with his abilities outside of the ring. Who would have thought this is the face of a New York Times best-selling author? Mick Foley struck writing gold right out of the gates.
Have a Nice Day in '99 just took it just shocked people in the literary world by hitting the bestseller list at #3 in its first week, getting to #1 in its second week. And this was at a time when all the presidential candidates had their memoirs out. And here was the pro wrestler on top of all of them. And the irony was, with the exception of Senator Bill Bradley from New Jersey, all of the candidates had their autobiographies written for them. So I could have forecast an economic downturn way back in '99 when the pro wrestler's doing his own work. The presidential candidates are not. That's not a good sign.
The Mankind mask was put on me to cover up the fact that he didn't think I looked like a star.
So will we ever see the wrestler turned author turned stand-up comedian back in the squared circle? Never say never when it comes to sports entertainment, but it sounds like Mick has already gone out on top.
My last match in my career to this point was with the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, and it was a really good one. So everyone wants to go out on a high note. So if that's the last match I ever had, it would have been a great way to go out.
Less than 24 hours after their win over North Carolina, the Vanderbilt Commodores went back to practice and back to work on the little things that got them here.
Coach Holiday really harps on all the hitters, making sure that we get bunts down because, I mean, it's a big part of the game now. He wanted to work with me on some more bunts because, I mean, you always can get better, so that's what he was doing.
And the Commodores' little big man set the tone in Saturday's game as Tony Kemp showed the College World Series what Vandy baseball is all about.
That's a freshman that's in the moment right away, first at bat, Ameritrade, College World Series, first experience, and he says, I'm going to take it to you right away. And that's his energy coming out in the form of baseball.
From bunting in the cage to fielding drills at the hot corner, the preparation the Doors defense continues to put in has already paid off in this tournament.
You know, it's a tribute to our preparation and how Corbin prepares us defensively. You know, we take each ground ball like it's a 4-second play in a real game, so it prepares us for the game. You know, so when we get into that moment, we're not rushed. We're just, you know, it's just another ground ball because we've taken countless number of ground balls this year.
Tony Kemp's play has been run off a Ponza machine of balls in front of him where he's dived forward. Esposito's play has been a 65 play that's part of a drill series that we utilize during the course of practice. So as you said, all those things come to fruition on the field. It's nice to see the finalization of it and see it made well.
Well, this product right here has been around for a while, headed at Clemson, but I don't think we utilized it as much as we're doing it here. We just, we've always used this as a pop-up device during practice, and then we started utilizing it in pregame practice to keep some normalcy. And usually when you go to different venues, you got different sights and scenery and wind, and it's helped us quite a bit, really. You know, you take a lot of pride in your ground balls, but very few times do you take as much pride in your fly balls, and those come up just as much as the ground balls during the course of games, particularly for the infielders.
We'll let you do your thing.
No problem.
I think if anybody watches our batting practice, then they'll realize that we prepare for those type of plays. Our outfielders are diving around. We're not instructed not to dive or not to get dirty during the pregame warm-up, so that's something that we take pride in, and our defense is really good at it.
They say luck is when preparation meets opportunity. So don't call the Commodores' playing style lucky. They've worked too hard for that. With the Doors at the College World Series, Mike Rogers, News Channel 5 Sports.